and welcome everyone, my name's Capcan and today I'm gonna be your Path of Exile historian. We're gonna be looking at Delve League that was out more than 5 years ago, League 3.4.0, which introduced one of the most revolutionary systems in the game that is yet to be beaten by any other league mechanic systems in the game, which was the Delve itself. The Delve is an endless dungeon where you can grind towards harder and harder content that will never run out, and you will get even harder and harder enemies to beat with more rewards and with many different interesting mechanics in the league itself. So let's talk about how the league mechanic has its legacy in the general game, and then after how league went, how league mechanic and how league itself was launched in the game, and what was even in the game at that time. So the Delve league mechanic is this endless dungeon progression where when you're trying to go deeper and deeper towards this endless mine, and the deeper you go, the higher level of enemies become, and whenever the level is capped at our regular Path of Exile values, then there are new mods that are applied on monsters appear, and they're just usual plus the resistances, more damage, additional damage as some elemental damage and stuff. And the league mechanic provides you with unique challenge in Path of Exile where you can scale those enemies endlessly, and it's truly unique endgame mode that provides you with this type of challenge in Path of Exile. You don't really have anything else that will scale infinitely, and you can do that in Delve. And it was very, very it was not an eye-opener, but it was definitely something that broke people's perception about the game whenever the League was introduced into the game. The League itself has a very, very cool stylistic vibe of this endless Spelunky-ish or Terraria-ish progression towards the bottom, towards the more and more hard and interesting content where you have better rewards. The Delve League mechanic, of course, presents you with different thematic areas, biomes, basically, with different monsters and enemies that you can find there, and different chambers with rewards that are specific, like currency rewards, harbinger rewards, breach rewards, general ones, and stuff like that. It presents you with a currency, it being Azerite or Azurite. By the way, a Delve League was going out whenever Battle for Azeroth in World of Warcraft was going out, and Azurite and Azurite, they were quite similar in naming, and it was quite funny as well. But yeah, Delve definitely stood the test of time way better than Battle for Azeroth for World of Warcraft did. But in general, yeah, that's not really important for now. So you had the currency to upgrade your crawler, to upgrade your light radius, to upgrade your darkness resistance. If you're not close to the crawler, you were getting damaged, you were getting killed, which meant that you need your flares, you need your dynamite to access the points behind the darkest parts of your traveling paths, and there would be your fossils and resonators. Okay, so not only the mechanic itself was groundbreaking for the game, the crafting that fossils made available for you was insane. The crafting with resonators combined with fossils was just something that game never really had before. You could have blocked some specific stuff on the item that you are crafting on. You could have combined that blocking of some particular types of mods with item being more specific towards some mods that you wanted, and it was just in general completely new way for you to craft everything. Whenever Delve was introduced to the game, everyone crafted with fossils and resonators. It was the predominant way for you to craft good gear. Everyone was farming fossils, everyone was farming resonators. If you were playing SSF, you were definitely utilizing this system and you were spending a lot of time in Delve. Sulfite was in every single map, and you got way less sulfite per map. You didn't have many nodes of sulfite as we do now. There was just one node of sulfite, if I recall correctly, and you were getting bit by bit of sulfite, so you couldn't really progress your delve without mapping by any means. You needed to run many maps to then get a bunch of sulfite. Progression of delve was separate for characters on the league. First, they've made it account wide or league wide after people complained about it so much. It was one of those moments where the community had to grind over grinding gear games and try to make them think how community really wants things to be done, and that all the additional league mechanics should be account wide. Or maybe more like league wide, because it wasn't feeling good whenever you were starting new character and your delve was again very, very low, and it wasn't progressing like it does now. Whenever you're going through maps, it progresses with you up to some point. With level like 81 of mobs, it was stopping at level 60 or something close to that after your campaign, and then you needed to grind through the low level delves, and it was way longer for you to do that. It was not as steep jump between levels, between monster levels in the delve itself, so it was way more grind, and whenever you were starting new character, it felt so horrible for you to have to progress through the delve again and to have completely other, and if you had maybe like all spawned with your previous character, you couldn't really try to kill that boss with your new character because you just didn't have the same delve. Every delve was a new roguelike experience for every single character, at least it was intended to be, and people didn't really like it, and they've changed it, and since that they've really learned this lesson on many different other mechanics, that you want to be able to things to progress. If there is logic behind them to progress league wide, you want them to progress like that, and not in the other way around. So otherwise, yes, resonators were groundbreaking. League mechanic itself was very interesting. It was all about exploration, this new mine with many different biomes that nobody ever saw or stuff like that. It was so much new content. There was so many new, you just didn't really saw those things as much. All the necromancy points, all the fire damage points, all the rogue exiles that were lurking around in the deep. It was just like a completely new game mode. I don't think that any league mechanic in particular was as big as Delve since the Delve was created, and before that as well. Delve is probably one of the biggest league mechanics in general. They've created new systems for that to work. Whenever you could have traveled through multiple nodes in Delve without any loading screen, they've created a completely new engine upgrades for that to be able to work. And how the towns deep down Delve were created, I still admire it so much. I think it's one of the best. Even though the Delve itself, the process of you running around with your crawler, then standing, waiting for mobs to spawn, may not be everyone's cup of tea, but whenever Delve hit, and whenever League mechanic was introduced and League itself was running, everyone loved Delve, and everybody wanted to delve way more. They wanted to have more sulfite, they wanted to be able to do that mechanic more, and Delve was for sure one of the favorites of community, even though it didn't have any specifically highest numbers of players online, so it didn't beat any records that much. Betrayal did. After that, Betrayal was one of the record-breaking leagues in terms of just the whole numbers whenever leagues on the league start. But Delve definitely was a fan favorite, and it was definitely a thing that everybody loved. It just added so much to the game. It added the new game mode. It added new way of crafting that was far superior to anything that you've had in the game before. It added new modifiers, Delve-specific modifiers. So basically, your items had completely new mods that you could get only in that mod. And it's more like it added influence type, because those mods that were Delve-specific. It was like you were getting Shaper, but Delve-esque influence on your items whenever you were crafting with resonators, or you were getting items from those nodes and stuff. So it was definitely just completely shock and utter joy for all the player base. And yet again, it introduced downs that were just showering maps on you, which was one of the main one of the best thing that you could have done for your end game progression, for your Atlas completion and stuff. It was just so much more maps that you were getting from the Delve town nodes than in your regular mapping. And then of course bosses mostly with all, of course, the Val one wasn't as powerful and as good, but still was good, more than good enough whenever the game didn't have as much power creep as it has now. And the Abyssal one was more than okay as well. But the all and all the uniques that you were getting from those bosses, it was definitely all was on par with pinnacle bosses. Whenever there was no uber versions of different stuff, and there was just Shaper and Uber Elder from Bestiary before, you've had all, and all was challenging, and the depths that you were finding him were quite challenging as well. And in general, for you to progress through hardest and lowest depths of Delve, you definitely needed some specific character with very specific defenses for you to live through through just infinite amounts of damage, basically. It was an interesting experience for group play as well, because group play could have gone way deeper than everyone else. Just in general, this league was tremendous. It was yet again groundbreaking and exceptional. And I think that if you were to ask anyone now, between Bestiary, Alva, Incursion, Delve and Betrayal, probably everyone will say either Delve or Betrayal was their favorite. And yeah, because those two leagues had so much content, they were so new, there was so many things to explore there. So it's not a surprise that they are such a favorite from the community. And I guess Legacy of Delve, it's enormous and everybody understands it, so I don't even need to say anything about it. If you want more content like this, definitely subscribe to the channel. Hope you're having a good day. Goodbye.